Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. It's Aston with Moto2N, the mobile repair service for all kinds of scooters and Japanese motorcycles on the Front Range of Colorado. So today I'm doing two return trips. The first one is for a genuine roughhouse that I worked on last week. It has a headlamp issue, so I'm returning with about 6 different headlamp bulbs. They're all the same headlamp bulb, but there's 6 of them, because we're gonna need a few to burn out in order for me to figure out what's shorting, what's causing this thing to eat headlamp bulbs. That's gonna be kind of a pain in the ass to figure out. The second scooter is the same Yamaha Zuma, one of them that I worked on last week. It needs a battery, so I'm returning to pop a battery in that scooter, and it should work well for the customer. So with all that said, follow along with me today. We'll see what I get up to. Thanks for watching. Here it is. Here's how to replace the battery on a Yamaha Zuma Bugeye. That's a Minarelli horizontal engined Yamaha Zuma made from about 02, 03 all the way to 2011. So they had a pretty good model run. Their battery is underneath a black plastic cover. It is a black plastic cover on every single one of them. It doesn't matter what color your scooter is. Just pop the 2 screws and then put your finger underneath where I just showed you and pop the battery cover off. Once the battery cover is removed, it is a best practice to remove the negative battery terminal from the battery first. This will ensure that you do not ground out the positive terminal when you go to remove that here in a minute or two. The biggest trick you need to be aware of when you're replacing a scooter battery is sometimes the screw for the battery terminal does not reach all the way to the square nut on the bottom of the battery terminal. So you need to do whatever you have to do, whether that's cut out a small piece of cardboard and stuff it in there, or use zip ties to bring the square nut up to where the screw is. Just do what you have to do to make sure that square nut meets that screw, or else you're going to have a hard time getting the two connected. It's also a best practice to check the charging system whenever you replace the battery. All you have to do on a scooter or motorcycle to check the charging system is start the bike, hook the battery up to a multimeter set to DC voltage, and make sure that it's charging at a little bit above the resting voltage of the battery. So you should see something like 13.5 volts with the bike running. That's the voltage across the terminals on the battery using a multimeter set to DC voltage. When you rev the bike, it should not go over about 14.7, 15 volts. If it's either under or over, you have an issue with your stator or your rectifier regulator. The last things I'm going to talk about here are the use of battery chargers. So I recommend using a battery tender charger on all brand new batteries. Just get them all the way charged up before you install them. That's a good best practice. Another good best practice is once your battery is installed in the scooter, you've checked your charging system, you know it works properly, and now you're going to let your bike sit over the winter, or you're going to let it sit for a few weeks between rides. This is not good for your scooter. It's good to use your scooter as much as humanly possible. However, if you're going to let it sit like most people do here in the United States, you need to hook it up to a battery tender style charger while it's sitting. You can use one of these chargers 24/7, 365. It keeps your battery in good shape. Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. It's Aston coming at you from the end of the day. So the first scooter, a scooter followed me home from my first job. That's Dave's old scooter. I had to work on his new scooter that had a headlight problem and a fuel sending unit problem. You can check that video out. I'll put a link in the description. I think that was like the last video I did. Anyway, he gave me his old scooter, which is like a 25-year-old Kemco Vitality 50cc. It's had a big bore kit installed on it. It has like 42,000 fucking kilometers, which is insane. So we're gonna see what we can do about making this thing into a fun and reliable scooter, so I can either give it away or try to sell it. I don't know, we'll see. It has a ton of miles. Anyway, the second scooter, you saw me do what I had to do to that one. It was just a battery replacement on a Bugeye Zuma, so that went real easy. This turned into kind of a how-to video, how to replace a Yamaha Zuma battery. So hopefully you enjoyed watching that. You can catch up with me tomorrow or in the next few days. I'll do a video about getting this thing back on the road too. So until then, y'all have a good one. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye.